G'day everybody, I should be doing chores, and today in this episode we're going to pick up where we left off earlier in the month after having prepared our field with its first crop of sorghum. So the goal now will be to pick up some solid contract income to close the month out and get ourselves in a position toward buying that harvester that we saw in the sale. With that in mind, let's jump into the menus and see what work we can find to do. So, there's a good size fertilizing contract. A couple of hoeing contracts we know we can't do. We are going to be in a little bit of strife if we let our weeds get too large. So maybe we do need to look at taking on some weeding contracts. And I think we can buy a weeder for not a great deal of money. There is also a farming contract. So we could put a worker on that. Okay. So I think what we might do is I'll load up some more fertilizer into this spreader. I'll set a worker off to do field 41. I'll attach the mower to the John Deere, and then we'll head over and do mowing on field 80. And then we might look at buying a weeder and taking on these contracts to do. How much would one of those cost us? Oh, yeah, pretty expensive. I mean, you could get one that's a 2-meter working width that we'd easily be able to use. How much is that to lease? 191. How much is it to lease one of these? 331. Yeah, and it requires 60 horsepower. Okay, well, let's give it a shot. If we take on those 2 contracts here, then this one will just about cover the weeding, the weeder hire, and then this one will be profit for us. And then we can run over our own field, which has got small weeds growing already. I think we can take care of that in the same month. We'll find out. Same time, we'll have a worker use our fertilizer spreader. We'll do the mowing contract first. Yes. Okay, so fertilizer for a worker, mowing for us, and then we will get the Fiat back and do weeding contracts after all of that. That's going to be quite a bit to do, so let's go ahead and take these contracts now. dokie. Alright guys, we are just finishing up our mowing contract now. Our worker has also finished fertilizing those 2 fields. And I'm not sure if we'll be able to get this in one go. Look at that. Happy days. So we'll fold up our mower here and have a little bit of a look around at the field here. That is looking really, really good. Let's jump into the contracts menu now and collect our fees. So we get to collect 1,084 for completing our mowing contract, 1,442 for fertilizing field 47, and 2,133 for fertilizing field 41. So it was pretty convenient having those 2 jobs right close to each other. Now while we're here, I'll just get our worker to head on back to the shop for us. They can set the destination back to the shop here. And we will meet them at the rally point and decide what to do from there. Okay, here we are back now. Apologies, I decided to cut that one out, the return trip. The graphics just decided to be about as smooth as a hacksaw blade, and it wasn't very enjoyable for me to watch, so I don't reckon it would have made very good content. Nevertheless, here we are. So let's jump into the contracts menu, and I believe we have collected our fees, but we can now go ahead and look at further jobs to do. Now there's a sowing contract just up near the animal dealer that's actually pretty easy to get to. They want red beet. Now, do we need a specific planter for that? I'd have to have a look. Otherwise, there's a good fertilizing contract at field 86. I can send the worker out to do that. And there is a wood transport contract which we could do. This one has plenty of time remaining on it. And it just needs to be taken from the sawmill area across to the carpentry. So let's just have a little look at whether or not we can seed red beets, or if we need specific equipment for that. Yeah, so just in the shop menu, we would need a vegetable planter to plant carrots, parsnips, red beets, and it says here spinach as well, but I reckon we should be able to plant spinach with a seeder. So if we did want to take that contract on, we could lease the equipment for 637. 637. Well, that's a pretty decent amount of profit in that one, actually. Yeah, we could do that. We could do that. Oh, look at that. Nice big fertilizing contract just dropped in as well. Okay, so let's do that. Let's set a worker off to do these fertilizing contracts, and then we'll take this sowing contract. We will need to lease the equipment for it. What's the difference between these two? 6 meter width, 3 meter width, and quite a little difference in cost, I'd say. Yeah. Not a little bit of difference. That's quite a lot. Okay. Well, let's do that then. We'll lease this equipment. And we will probably need to buy some more fertilizer. Just having a look at what we have. Yeah, our spreader here is down to 476 litres, so we'll buy some more of that as well. That's found up here in consumables, solid fertilizer. It's only one big size contract. Let's start with 1. If we need more, we can get more. Actually, I will just check. How big was that job? Yeah, we should be able to get away with 1 pallet, and then if needed we'll fill up again before doing this one. So we'll accept this contract straight away, set the worker off on that, and we'll accept the sewing contract. Cool. Let's get everything geared up and ready to go. Well, we have another issue here. Just going to check the contract. Farmland 9, which is where we are, wants planting with red beets. And let's check the crop calendar here. Red beets are in season. We have the appropriate planter, but for some reason, and I've tried this with automatic seed rate and not, we can't get it to seed, which is most confusing. So this is the area that we ran over, and we couldn't get that to go. So that's a little bit disappointing. What we might do, and it looks like our other worker has in fact run out of fertilizer as well. Not having the best luck today. So what we might do is we'll head back to the shop, and I will reset this equipment and send a worker to try it. I'll take over doing the fertilizing contracts and see if we can get that to work that way. If not, we'll have to abandon this contract. I've had a few things going this way. Not entirely sure why. You can see that using the U key binding I can change between automatic seed rate and manual seed rate. When I was using automatic, it was saying 0, and then I would say manual and it would say 50 seeds per square meter, which is not a lot, but these planters don't carry a lot. So I'm not really sure what's happening. If you guys know, let me know down below in the comments, because it's It's got me scratching my head, and I'm already running out of air. Well, the good news there is we were able to collect $5,000 in our contract fee for the fertilizing, and we're now going to send a worker off to do fertilizing on field 86. Now, they really should have enough on board for that, I hope. I've been a little bit off with my guesstimates today, but that's okay. We're still making money, even if I chase my tail a little bit. We will create a job to do field work over here, please, at field 86, and start that job. There we go. I will now grab the John Deere with the planter, which we no longer require. Yeah, really unfortunately, I just don't know why I'm having some contracts fail to start. Everything should be right for this. We've got a decent enough horsepower tractor to run the planter. We're in the right season. We've got the right planter with seeds in. Yeah, so I'm not really sure what's going on. But we'll take this planter back to the shop. We'll cancel our selling contract. Katie will not be happy. So I think we can return this planter now, and I also believe that we can return the roller. I'll drop that one here. see if we can scooch around the front of the building this way. Okay. Now, quickly jump into the menus here, and we will have a look. Sorry, Katie, couldn't do that one for you. That's all right. Now, I did see, yes, there is a large value liming contract there, which we can get our worker to tackle. Field 87, it's going to be a big job. Probably take at least a couple of refills. There is also some very decent sized weeding contracts. We might, as I said, be able to do those. We would just need to get the right sized equipment. So if a weeder is what we need, we can use a small one here. This only requires 35 horsepower and it has a 3-meter width. Could take some time to get that job done as compared to a nice 6-meter wide, which we could do with the Fiat. But yeah, the issue that I have with weeding contracts is some time ago there was a bit of a bug where you would start the contract and you would be unable to complete them. So I'm very reluctant, especially given that I've had a couple of contracts recently go awry where I'm unable to complete them. So yes, if you can detect my hesitation, that's why. Alternatively, there's a wood transport contract, which I would also need the Fiat for. So you know what? Let's give it a go. What's the worst that could happen? We'll start with this field number 47. And we will borrow the small 3-meter weeder for 191 euros. Now jump into the shop and we'll also go to vehicles here and we will return the handmade roller. And the planter, vegetable planter. Okay, let's hook up to this weeder and get started. Wow, what a day, guys. That's been an absolute mission today, but we've had a lot of jobs done. There was a few things that didn't go quite our way with workers and with some contracts that we were unable to complete, but overall, really successful day. And we've got our first land here seeded with sorghum, and it's also been rolled, limed, ready to roll for next season or next month. We're going to come in next month with the weeder here. It was too early to weed at the moment. Yeah, it actually doesn't say that we have weeds here at the moment. But I think in some places on the field it did say we did. So maybe next month they'll pop up and we can use our borrowed weeder here to take care of those. And then we'll also have the spreader still that we can use to spread our field with fertilizer. So we're going to give it the best shot we can for the best possible yield. We were down to about 800 euros at one point during the day, earlier this morning, but as we jump into the menus now, we'll collect on our most recent completed contracts, and we'll check the finances as well to see how we performed overall today. It's been a long one, but it's also been a very productive one, and we've achieved a whole lot of goals today. So I'm very happy with our progress. Let's jump in now and collect contracts. Okay, so the weeding, we are able to collect 1,923. Now that's actually going to pay for us to keep the weeder overnight and do our own land on 57 tomorrow. So that's a good outcome. And the liming, our worker decided to do a patchwork of a job of it down here, so we had to finish off correctly. But we burned nowhere near as much lime as I was expecting. So we'll get to keep the majority of our contract fee here, 7,406. Okay, so our total funds in the bank, 14,467, looking way up from where we were this morning. Alrighty, now let's jump in and have a look at the finances, see what we've spent. Okay, so we're in the month of May. We've been operating this farm now for 9 months, so we're doing pretty good so far. Today's leasing costs were 3,199. Unfortunately, some of that was for a planting contract of red beets that we were unable to achieve. But there was also quite a lot of expenses there for the seeder, for the fertilizer spreader and for our front end loader. And there's also the weeder, which we'll keep overnight. Unfortunately, we did have a wood transport contract that we tried to do today as well, and that one didn't pan out. We ran out of time, and that was my bad, not looking at how long was remaining on the contract. So expenses, we spent 6,240 in fertilizer, and we spent 2,136 on wages for hiring workers to do jobs for us and to move vehicles around. And we spent 1,765 on miscellaneous. That's pretty much all lime. For our contract income today, though, we did make 26,996. So you can see that's on par with where we've been for March and where we would have been in April as well, were it not for one epic liming contract. So that's a pretty good outcome for the month. And overall, we're up 13,654 for the month of May. That's a pretty good outcome, guys. I don't know about you, but I'm pretty satisfied with that. So next time around, we'll get stuck into a little bit of weeding straight up and fertilizing, and then see what the rest of the day holds for us as we wait for our own crops here to mature so that we can harvest them. Oh, we cannot forget. if I don't buy it now, it may not be in the sale for much longer. Let's jump in. Let's see. Yes, this header is on sale for 63% off. A 4.2 meter width header. We're just out of reach of the combine, but if we take this one now, then I don't have to worry about this one dropping out of the sale. I'm not going to change the colors. Quite happy with the scheme that they come in. So we'll go and buy that for $2,345. Very good. All right, now we won't be able to move that until the start of next month, when we're able to buy the harvester that goes with it. But yeah, we've got a really good lead on that right now with 12,000 sitting in the bank. All right, guys. Well, I think that's going to do it for today. So I had a really fun time in this episode. There's been a couple of ups and downs, of course, but that's part of the game. And I've really enjoyed our progress so far. If you've been enjoying this progress, then please drop me a like down below and maybe leave me some comments. If you know what's going on with my workers or contracts not being able to complete, leave me a comment on those as well. But as always, I should be doing chores, but here I am playing video games and sharing it with you lovely people on the internet. Till the next one, guys, have a good one.